Comms check. 1212.
Yeah, we hear you.
I am the first person to put my headset on.
Not surprised. Always ready. So what I understand is that we're going up this gradual slope to this last waypoint 2x. And so Rennie has been calling in like 100-meter moves, but we can bring it to whatever. And yeah, so we're going to keep going very gradually upslope across this ridge. And they made such good time that we'll probably have time to explore. So there's a potential we could continue along this ridge. And this bottom part of this map is likely from the occlusion from the multi-beam, so we actually probably don't know what these features are. That sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so we're just going to continue along this gradual slope for a while?
Yeah, so let me see. Maybe we could keep going a little following the contours for a bit and then head back up.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I
We'll
like your,
see if
I like
Chad's
your
around.
first cursor.
Yeah, maybe we'll just head to maybe 065 from here.
Right. Yeah. Is Chad on right now?
I don't know.
What degree of confidence do we have that this little feature is actually
yeah,
there?
So I was just saying the bottom part is likely occlusion. So this whole kind of eddying contours is kind of to be determined whether that's real.
I was looking at that little island in the middle of the stream.
Yeah, I think that is likely from the occlusion.
Actually, west of there in the yellow.
Say that again?
Right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think this bottom part, the southern half of this ridge was occluded slightly in the multi-beam. And so it's kind of interpolated. And so
I hate that word.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I'll just say that those contours are...
Hi, Chad, this is Gary.
Are potentially much
smoother.
Call? Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, carry on.
Yep.
So Chad.
This is Gary on V-Link.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah, I just got, Amity and I were on with Erica on the other channel, but we're back here. We're good to go.
Okay. So Chad, do you want to start heading right to that 2X? Kind of keep along this line? Or should we keep on going on this?
Can we?
Yeah.
We need to switch the channel back from the van to HiPAC.
Okay.
On channel 3, or whatever that is.
Yeah, Roger, got that.
I could look at your monitor. I see your monitor in my screen, but
no.
probably doesn't have. I know. I see you.
I'll give you 1,000-meter contours.
All right, Chad, you should have HiPAC on satellite 3 now. Or channel 3, however it appears on the website.
Chad, do you have HiPAC on your screen?
I do. Sorry, I was talking and V-Link kicked me off again, and then again that same problem. I log back in and it mutes me. Yeah.
Here now. So yeah, if you see this ridge,
I do see it.
We could kind of follow the contour a little bit more easterly, or we could just kind of head straight to 2X. Argus and Herc are in good position, like we're to do that, to kind of head straight there.
Right.
And it sounds like we have a lot of time. So what we were saying is this bottom part of that ridge is likely not it may not be real like that with the contours. It's likely from the occlusion of the multi-beam data. So yeah, if we wanted to go to 2x and kind of go around this ridge, that sounded like a potential plan since we'll have extra time. But for the immediate plan, whether we want to continue kind of along this contour and then head to 2x or just kind of go there right now, it's kind of the decision.
Yeah, so, and how far is that?
So 2x is like a kilometer away.
A kilometer? Okay. Yeah, and I know that I saw that Jan was going to ask Guy Cochran for some additional waypoints past or east of 2x. Gosh, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot past 2x except flatness.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let me zoom out for you so you can see the whole. Yeah, it's this very extended ridge. So
yeah, it's going to be nice and soft.
it sounds, yeah. I can actually put a backscatter for you too. But if you wanted to start just kind of heading there 065 and then kind of make decisions more locally as we do that, because around here doesn't seem super high priority. But yeah, it's going to be pretty low intensity backscatter.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I know we have, we got to be on deck by midnight. So we're going to pull at like somewhere around 10:45 or something like that, I imagine.
We're pretty shallow.
Give or take. So even later than that?
Minutes for ascent and then 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like maybe an hour before we have to be on deck.
Okay, so we have 4.5 to 5 hours of bottom time left. So we have plenty of time. So yeah, you know, I do see what you're saying about that kind of occlusion area there.
Yeah.
As far as maybe being an artifact from the multi-beam, but the way it's calved there, I wonder if it is a formation that collapsed there. We found a lot of these kind of formations out at Davidson.
Oh, wow.
And we know there's sedimentary cliffs there, and I'm wondering if there was a massive landslide there, just based on that. It's like a bunch of just rubble and jumble and everything. And it may not be exciting or interesting, but
inward might indicate that as well. So.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, yeah, what you're kind of suggesting is that one of the alternatives is to kind of head towards that area and kind of cut through the middle of it and see what it's like, and then come on the back side or the south side of this feature.
So I
and then
was
we can
actually
hop over the
we
top.
head to 2x and then go around the time, just because that will keep us.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Consistently going kind of upslope or on slope.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's a priority, yeah, that would be my suggestion, is if we go to 2x and then go around the bend to hopefully have time to investigate that area. That sounds good.
Yeah, we should have time on the ship to do that too. So I was just thinking of doing it the other way, only if Guy came back. Oh, here's Guy. I'm sorry, he just replied. You know, because if he was going to come up with ideas to go east of 2x, it would be like double backing twice. So I didn't want to waste too much time. Let me read what he has here. Where's 2S?
2S.
Yeah.
Should be well behind us. Let's see. It's hard with all the transects.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's the goal. So it's going to be, so this is 2U. You know, I can just get it for us. So it's about 1.7 kilometers west of us, so way back. You copy that?
Darn, did the mute thing again. I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
Kicks me out, comes in. So how far is that? I mean, it looks like it's more than a kilometer, but what?
The 2S? The 2S is about 7 kilometers, like all the way back, just west of
Oof.
where we are. So 2S,
Okay.
that was the last target for the dive plan.
Yeah.
So, I assume that's still a priority to head there if you want to keep doing that. And then,
Yeah, I'm
again,
conversing.
with the excess time, then we can kind of check out that potentially calved area. And it should be pretty easy to go because we'll already be on that contour.
Okay. Okay, so I have confirmation from both from Jan and Guy to not do 2X.
Okay.
They both talked about going back to 2S, which is 1.7 or whatever you said kilometers back to the west. I understand it's far, but they're okay with doing any kind of midwater tow. Like you don't have to keep contact with the bottom. You can just try to go as fast as possible.
Okay, well, let me just make sure I can visualize that because I have the target. But
Sure. Yeah, Jan said midwater tow is okay, so.
All right, and that will take us
I will.
Pretty far from that calved area, so. All right. So
oh yeah, I know. If we go back to 2S, we're not going to hit the calved area. That's what I just was thinking about. But Jan, this is Jan's portion of the cruise, so what she wants to do is what we'll do.
So okay, so yeah, if we want to just make the decision to come off bottom right now, unless there's any interest in not doing that.
No, yeah, we can come up.
All right.
About what's the tallest feature between us and there?
Let's see. I'll have to count. So looks like it's gonna be maybe 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 40. I'd say maybe 40 to 50 meters above where we are now.
Yeah, so maybe we'll come up to like 100 just to be safe and then tow over and we can do, yeah, like half, let's see, yeah, 100 meters up, half that over.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get set up and then call in the ship move.
Roger.
And Argus will be going 265 with the ship?
Just confirm. Yeah, the target bearing is 265, so we'll just...
Roger.
You'll want to get ahead of me, right?
So...
So...
Just, can I confirm some numbers with you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Just so Jan can hear them? I assume she's listening right now because she's in science chat.
Yeah.
So that's almost a full nautical mile back to the west, correct?
Yep. It's almost...
Okay, so doing half a knot, we're talking about a 2-hour tow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I just want her to know that that's the time we're talking about.
And again, because there's potential that there's going to be, 50-meter plus height elevation change, we'll probably not have any visual contact with the bottom.
Yeah, we'll pull up in the water column 100 meters off just for safety.
Yeah, she answered yep in the chat room, so she heard us. Just making sure. She's okay with 2 hours. So I want to be 100% clear. Oh, she said yep a third time. We're good.
Okay.
That's a lot of yes.
Hopefully she's not answering someone else. I'm just kidding.
We got you, Jan.
All right, Kim.
Jan, do you like coffee?
Come up in the water.
Do you want to pick up the heading first?
Yeah, I'll pick up the heading. So you'll be 265, and then I'll be streamed out behind you. Inverse of that.
I want to clarify one thing about the target that we're going to fly to. I know I said 2S. I assume 2S is up on the ridge, correct?
I can show you right now. So 2S is right here. Do you see where my cursor is?
Yes.
So it's not, it's kind of in the slope up the...
It's in the slope, okay. So what they wanted to do is
go up
essentially, they wanted to drop to the bottom, exactly, kind of down slope of 2S itself, kind of down to the floor, if you will, and then drive up the slope. in the south direction.
Oh,
So they're kind of hitting uphill all the way.
The uphill of the southern slope.
So yeah, 2S. Can you zoom into 2S?
Yeah, so just hope that 1 second. Because it's on the bottom of the slope going north.
It is. Okay, then that's fine. Then we'll target 2S. It's good.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't too far up the slope. You know what I mean? They wanted to
so I'll
drop to the bottom and go uphill.
Yeah, so this is the 2S, and we'll have a whole slope above us.
Great. Okay. That's what we'll do.
Roger.
Roger. All right, I'll come around. .085 for me, then Kim, I think you'll be 265.
Yep. And you'll stream out behind Argus?
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, I'll come on up.
So it looks like it'll be an hour and 50.5.
Roger. And I'll go up to 600 meters depth there, and I'll hold.
I'm still above you.
Roger that. Yeah, that's a new feature.
Depth improved?
Yeah, it's a depth history.
Depth history.
That's cool.
All right, to all of our viewers, thank you guys so much for your patience. We are getting an update on some of the dive plan, which is fairly important to make sure that everyone's on the same page. We just did a shift change as well, so we're getting all dialed into what the next couple of hours are going to be looking like and where we're going to be doing some additional transects as well. Do want to let everybody know that if you've got any questions for the team, go ahead and go on to nautiluslive.org. We are ready for your questions, your comments, messages. Go ahead and send those to us. Try to do our best to get to some of those today. And also, if you'd like to go ahead and just let us know where you're tuning in from, that would be great.
Didn't expect that. Was that good?
It probably come off in your hand.
All right, we're getting some great science questions coming in here. I'll wait till our science team is back in the seat, so to speak. Got people tuning in from England, Canada, Scotland. It's pretty awesome. A lot of local folks as well along the coast. Point Reyes, Marin. Excited to have everybody join us today. We are on our second dive in Pioneer Canyon here in Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, just off the coast of hhmm Bay, which is just south of San Francisco. And we've been, I don't know, I'd say at a depth of about, I think today has been about 700 meters, so about 2,300 feet. Exploring these canyons, looking at the substrate, identifying species, taking lots of really great science transects will be analyzed by our colleagues. Surveying this area, never been surveyed before. I've been doing some dives the last couple of days here in Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. And we're going to continue to do some more dives coming up. That is the plan. We will be, I believe, on this dive until,
Yeah, we'll be
I think,
doing
about
this transect
10 o'clock tonight.
in the blue water. So we'll be doing this.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be ending the dive around just before or at 11 o'clock, Amity. So we'll be in the water for another, 6.5 hours or whatever.
Great.
And now, just real quickly, I hopefully we'll be getting a latitude or lat long from Guy Cochran. He's put a slight modification on our destination, but I know we have a while to go, so it's not too big of a deal. He actually wants to go up approximately a half a kilometer south of the 2S waypoint, and drop on the southern side. He's hoping that, well, there's an area of high backscatter there, and he's hoping there'll be more coral forests and rugose rock. So I asked him for a latitude, longitude, just so we can have a kind of a precise where he wants to go.
Yeah. So do you want me to just drop a target right now, 500 meters due south of our target, so that we're heading to the general right direction?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So at least our angle is, kind of correct. And
so Justin, Kim, I'm going to do our bearing at 250. Is that good?
Yeah, 250. I'll go with you there, Kim.
Okay, thank you.
Roger.
250, Rog.
all right, he doesn't have GIS at home, but he's going to look at channel 3 to look at the point that you drop to see if it's okay.
Yep, and I can put up the backscatter if he wants and zoom in, and he can kind of see. So, yeah, because I did see that north of the S was not high backscatter. It was maybe 100 meters east of that was high backscatter up on the northern part of the ridge.
Okay, yeah, he'd love to see the backscatter.
Yep. Oh, wow, yeah, good choice.
Which pixel do you want? What's the whitest pixel there?
Just several. It looks like kind of 200 meters north or south of the target that I just put 500 meters south of S. It's a little higher.
Yeah, it looks like it's... Yeah, he's good with that area. All right,
okay,
cool.
Great.
We're fine there.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Yep. I'm going to change it back just for my eyeballs.
Uh-huh. Okay, Amity, continue.
No, it's great to get all this worked out for sure. It's good to be on the same page, be flexible.
I think the dogs are on the same page too.
Must be dinner time somewhere.
Yeah, I have to keep hitting mute. This oh, the joys of doing this from home. But I will be on the ship tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just in time for all the weather to hit. So, yay.
You're a good luck charm though, so it'll turn around.
I hope so.
Yeah. And we've got people from around the world, Brazil, getting folks from Norway, of course. lot of states around the country, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Maryland, New Jersey. This is great. So yeah, we think people stay up all night, tuning in, don't want to miss out, especially when these dives are, you know, on the bottom doing their thing, exploring. It's pretty exciting to see. Lots of really great content, good information, good science. Speaking of good science, just want to let you guys know, if you go to nautiluslive.org under the education page, they have a series of upcoming events which you can tune in from wherever you're at. The next one is called Explore at Home, Corals in the Darkness with Karina Fish and Dr. Steve Oskovich. It's going to be on Friday, October 9th. So go ahead and check the website for particular time zone that you're going to need to tune in for here on the West Coast, California time. That'll be 1 p.m. But definitely go check that out. All the links are there. And stay tuned for more Explore at Home series. It's really a great way to supplement content available online these days. Anytime I can take advantage of getting science from scientists to connect to us in our home, I know I always take advantage of that. All right, I'm just monitoring the questions coming in here. Chad, do you want to take a question or two?
Sure, as long as it's easy.
Yeah. Well, let me just, this is always a fun question, and everyone has a different answer here for this one. So you can't go wrong. What is the coolest thing that you have seen in the deep sea so far? I think I know the answer to that one, but I'm gonna let you take that.
It was a really cool patch of mud I saw once. I thought I saw it move, and it just really excited me. Yeah, I think Amity knows. It was 2018, our first foray on the Nautilus for Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, and it really was the end of a 30-hour long dive. And we had been seeing some of your typical things, corals and sponges, and we saw, a nice Dumbo octopus and some rare encounters like that. And it was at the very end of this dive, within the last hour, we came across a group of about 20 octopus, but we didn't recognize what they were at first until we got a little closer, and we realized, because there were these white bowling balls on the seafloor, they're quite contrasting to the seafloor itself. And we realized, what are those octopus doing? And they were all inverted. Their arms were wrapped over their mantles or heads, exposing their mouths and underside. And so we settled down the ROV to stabilize everything. And then it all kind of started to come into picture. We saw the water shimmering, and we thought, oh my gosh, that must be warm water, kind of like a mirage on a hot day where the heat comes off the pavement and produces that shimmering effect. And then we got glimpses of eggs that these mother octopus had attached to the rocks. And we thought, wow, that's pretty cool. That's very peculiar. Never seen this before. But it was a group of 20, so we didn't really think too much of it, but we were interested in it. So we decided to go east down this slope, and we had less than an hour left, hoping maybe we'd find other pockets of potentially this warm water coming out somewhere. And Amity, of course, was on this cruise too. And it was just incredible. We ran into well over 1,000 of these mother octopuses in pools, in these long lines of cracks and fissures. It was just incredible. Never seen anything like that. I thought the 20 were cool. And so obviously that's been a major tangent, I guess you could say, in some of the deep sea research that our sanctuary is conducting and interested in, as well as our colleagues like Monterey Bay Aquarium Institute and others, because this is a very unique feature. It turns out these mother octopuses are attaching their eggs to rock that are within these warm water seeps. We've confirmed how warm it is. We've measured it up to 10.5 degrees Celsius, and that's that kind of like high 40s or so. So it's really cold ocean water, but it's near freezing, of course, at the bottom of the sea at about 1.6, 1.8 degrees at those depths, which is 2 miles deep, 10,000 feet. So clearly these octopus are trying to gain some sort of advantage. At least that's the assumption. And so now the question is why? Well, what's the advantage? How is this helping them? And since then, we have seen dozens and dozens of octopus hatch, so we know it's viable. Because only one other place in the world it's been discovered out of Costa Rica, but there's been no evidence of hatching there. But sorry for the long-winded answer. It just gets me giddy to think about, this is something that had never been seen before, and now, we're going back multiple times, and every time we go back is something different. We found a second octopus nursery last year, and we even ran into a whale fall, and I'd never seen one of those either, other than recording. So that just kind of the shock of coming up on that, and I'm sure you could Google the highlights or go to nautiluslab.org, and you hear all of us in the control van sounding like a bunch of children, just like, whoa, what's that? So there are these moments there are these moments in deep sea discovery where it really does kind of knock your socks off.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's your inner child comes out for sure. And I think what's really cool is just the fact that we go to these places to explore, and when we come across these discoveries, like you've said before, Chad, it's just more questions, right? And more curiosity, more questions that drive the science. And I think one of the awesome things about that dive was just the fact that it's literally directed some of our science for the last couple of years and our efforts with our colleagues and our partners on just kind of trying to understand what's going on down there. And I know we've learned more information about warm water seeps in that area as well. And so it just goes to show that, when you're down there and come across these species and these habitats that are relatively unknown and unexplored, it actually opens up a whole nother kind of area of science for us that we want to get in there and try and find some of those answers to some of those questions that we have and that everybody has. And I know for you've done your last couple of years have been kind of focused a lot on that and learning more and working with colleagues and providing data. That's another important thing that these expeditions do is we collect data, we provide a lot of data to the science community, and everyone just kind of builds on each other, and I think that's pretty amazing. All right, I'm just reading through some of the comments here. So glad you're all back in. I've learned so much following you over the last 5 years. Thank you for your dedication and expertise. So thank you, Lori, for that comment. Hey, Chad, I'm just assuming we're working on some coordinates, correct?
Oh, no, actually, we're good right now. So yeah, just for everyone who might be watching at home wondering what we're doing, where's the really cool stuff? Well, we'll get there. We are transiting in mid-water to basically go as fast as we can over to another target. So it's going to take us probably another, I don't know, 40 minutes, give or take, to get there. But once we get there, we hope to find a lot of corals and diverse rugose habitat. Oh, I said 40 minutes. I'm sorry. I meant about an hour and 40 minutes or so, maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, we've increased our speed just a little bit, so we'll see if the DP's happy with that. But right now, we might be there in an hour.
Oh, good news.
If they're happy at this current speed. So shaved off some time.
All right, so it'd be a great time for people to enter some questions if they have some, as we're transiting to our next destination. Chad, why don't you, for those folks who are tuning in, why don't you introduce yourself? I know I did a little bit earlier and happy to do that again, but if you want to kick us off.
Sure. My name is Chad King. I'm on the research team of Monterey Bay, or at Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, and I am chief scientist along with Jen Roletto for this entire cruise. So she kind of was in charge of planning the dives at Pioneer Canyon, which we're still at, and then I plan the dives for the next part of the week. We'll be at Davidson Seamount.
Great. Okay, and yeah, for those just tuning in for myself, my name is Amity Wood. I'm the education coordinator with work with Chad, work with Erica, and sometimes I get to work with Jen as well. She's also another one of our science team members here. Yeah, I get to tag along, if you will, on a lot of these science missions. It's really fun. I love the exploration side. Obviously, the discovery side is always very fun. But I'm also very interested in the science and, you know, just learning as much as I can so I can communicate that out to our audience members, to, you know, folks that are coming to do our programs as well. We have a number of visitor centers which are normally running programs. We're currently on pause right now, but we do have school programs, public programs. We have wonderful volunteer docents who also educate the public. Yeah, it's always very fun once we get a discovery to share that in multiple ways that we can with the public and get them excited about ocean and learning more about you know, especially the deep sea. I think that's one of those habitats that holds a lot of mystery, if you will, and a lot of people are very curious about it. So anytime we get a chance to share more of our knowledge about the deep sea with the public, we always get a lot of questions, get a lot of really interested folks wanting to know what's going on down there. And Chad, I know you're probably going to talk a little bit more about the whale fall on our next dive, but that's one of the things that we've been able to really kind of just ran across, unpredicted, but it was a nice find, and it led to a lot of discovery of different types of organisms that will actually be able to capitalize on the whale fall, and led to the kind of the discovery of a new species, or I guess it's a species level, right? I mean,
yeah,
I think that was
new
the determination.
of bone-eating worm. Yes.
Bone-eating worm. So yeah, so all of these expeditions that we do, again, we find lots of really amazing animals down here that people just don't know a whole lot about. So that's part of the fun of science, is really about exploring and learning more. So I get really excited when we find that stuff, even though I don't know as much as the science team does. All right. Is there anybody else in the control van that's on the horn, so to speak? Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ben Gracian. I'm sitting in the navigator seat, so I help drive the vehicle to position Argus and enable Hercules to explore. And when we're not diving, I'm doing the multi-beam mapping from the ship. That's what I do.
I can go next. My name's Jess Sandoval, part of the ROV team, sitting Herc currently. And yep, so we fly the vehicles together with Kim.
Kim Wallace, part of the ROV team, sitting Argus at the moment, supporting Jess and Herc.
And I'm Marley Parker in the video seat. So I'm zooming and focusing our ROV cameras and also managing the cameras on the ship and what's going into our satellite feeds for broadcast.
I'm Mary Dury. I'm at the data logger seat. I help make notes and about what we're seeing when we're doing transects and any life we see down there.
Mary, can you bring your microphone a little closer?
Yep.
Video keeps us in line.
I just want to make sure we can hear her.
No, of course.
Yeah, that does sound better on my end too.
It's good that there's somebody here to make sure we stay focused.
We have to have another person to make sure that person stays focused. It's a team effort.
The chain of command becomes circular.
I've got a mapping question coming in.
Yeah.
You guys ready for that one? All right. Can you see, can you see cracks in the seafloor when you are mapping? What kind of detail can you get from the mapping?
Yeah, for sure. So the thing about measuring using acoustics from the ship, your resolution is kind of dependent on how deep that feature is away from us. So really deep, you know, like 4-kilometer abyssal plains, we collect data and grid it into a certain cell size in meters. And so, for instance, you know, 4,000 meters, we may have big 40-meter grids, 40 by 40 meters. But shallow features, we can get much higher resolution. So it's a little depth dependent, but for sure, the multi-beam is a very powerful tool for looking at, yeah, like all the features you'd expect on the seafloor. And ridges are not missed by us typically. Sometimes, you know, you'll get a sharp, it depends on your angle as well, so you can kind of get occluded in one. And so that's part of our, when we're doing a real mapping survey, we'll try to get our orientation and coverage to kind of go up and back in a mow-the-lawn pattern to kind of remove that occlusion and get all the angle right. So while we were mapping down to this Pioneer Canyon, we were on this deformation ridge that was a priority mapping target. So that's it was neat to see it kind of come in and out. We also use a sub-bottom profiler. So that is a much lower frequency, kind of like longer wavelengths that it can penetrate more deeply. And so we can actually get an image, essentially an image of what's under the seafloor. And what we were seeing with those ridges, you know, are all these kind of compacted, bulging layers under, you know, being moved by those geological processes. So that's always neat to see. But yeah, I'm very curious to see with the sub-bottom expert go through it, and you know, it's a real art to be able to interpret all that data. So hopefully that answers the question. In a long.
Yeah, for sure. Do we ever explore areas that we have not mapped before?
Well, typically we're going to want a map for ROV exploration, which is so local. It's kind of dangerous to not have any a priori information. So plenty of times, you know, mapping oceanographic, hydrographic measurements is a collective effort. So there are times that we'll pull data that have been collected from other ships. And so we're not always necessarily using our mapping, but, you know, typically we do. And, you know, as we go over the site, sometimes that's when we're doing the mapping. So we kind of have to scramble and figure out, all right, this is what came up in the mapping. Should we adjust, you know, our dive plan? So that's always kind of exciting, is to reveal essentially new features as we drive over them. And that happens quite a bit. But at the end of the day, we always have, of course, this measurement is from satellites. And so like Google Earth, you know, will interpolate all this satellite data, and that's from satellite altimetry. So that's measuring actually small variations in the mean sea surface height. So the sea surface height actually gets displaced. You know, it's a gravitational mechanism. So the variation in the mean sea surface height tells us something about what's going on the seafloor. So that is the coarsest measurement that everyone has globally. And then from there, we want to take more localized shipboard and even sometimes deployed with AUVs and ROVs to get really fine scale detail.
So it sounds like sometimes it's a series of data layers.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Hopefully they're all going to match up.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you.
Yep.
I know we keep using this word backscatter, and I've got a couple questions coming in about what is backscatter.
Yeah, so from the acoustic measurement of the seafloor, you get a couple things. So one, just the time of flight of the return. So basically we send out an acoustic ping, and we know exactly when we send it out. We know kind of the properties of that wave form that we're sending. And so based off the timing, we know how far away that feature was. So something, a deep, you know, 4,000 meters will come back, let's say, I don't know, you know, in 1 microsecond, and then 2,000 would come back half that time. So it's the time of flight. But with backscatter, we're actually looking at not the timing, but the intensity of that return. So when that acoustic signal comes back, it can come back over a range of just power, of intensity. And so that tells us something about the substrate type. So, you know, like Science on Shore right now is making decisions based off the coarse backscatter map we have. And you see that these white high intensity returns are likely harder, rockier substrate, whereas the more dull, muted returns are more soft sediments that will kind of scatter more in all directions and lose that high intensity return. So yeah, from that data we can get ranging, but we also have that backscatter intensity information that gives us information about the substrate.
It's great. So you can make out features and things like that.
Yeah.
At least a little bit more fine scale.
Yeah, so the Yeah, the backscatter is kind of we're looking at it kind of in bulk. So you can see kind of general trends. But again, it depends on our resolution, how far away these things are, and kind of what we're targeting. But it's good for seeing the general changes in the substrate over these, tens, hundreds of meter distances.
All right.
Yeah,
Is
sometimes
Jess
when
available? Oh, go ahead, Chad.
I was just gonna continue that thought on kind of the multi-beam and backscatter. When I show my kids, a hill shade image, right, which is a virtual picture of the seafloor, they go, "Oh wow, how did you get that picture of the seafloor? Like, how is that possible?" And I always have to explain to them, it's kind of like those little blocks of pins that they stick their hand under. And when you push up on the pins, you basically see a representation of your hand coming through or whatever object you put through, because all the pins are at different heights. And then you recognize when you put all those dots together, hey, it's in the shape of a hand. The hand has all these pins that are higher, right? So I tell them that's basically what we're doing in a computer, except with many more pins. So the pins that are higher and lower are then artificially shaded with light, just like if you were looking at it with real light. And so it kind of, the software makes a picture of the seafloor, even though it's not really a picture of the seafloor.
It's only an illusion.
It's an illusion. That's right.
Well, you will capture, like a shadow, and you might be like, how did you capture the shadow? It's like, oh,